So now, yes, we can, I would like to thank you three for being here, okay? Thank you very much. I also expect those students graduating soon to come in upcoming editions or years. Thank you, Pedro, thank you, Fatem, thank you, Alfredo, for accepting, for being here and sharing, okay? I think it's quite valuable, and thank you, Miguel, also for your contribution here. So I think we can start, we will do the 4 presentations in a row, and then start a panel discussion. I ask you to try to stick to 10 minutes each. I know Miguel is gonna go up to 15, or even more. But let's try to keep time within bounds as much as possible, okay? So maybe, Pedro, you want to start?
All right. So thank you very much for inviting me. I think this is a really nice opportunity to share with you some of the most or not traditional options that you might have after completing your PhD. So to give a little bit of context, I studied my aerospace engineering bachelor and master at UC3M. Then I pursued the PhD in space propulsion in the EP2 group at UC3M with a research stay at Los Alamos National Lab. And then I took this rather peculiar or different career path, starting as a strategic consultant at Boston Consulting Group. Okay, so I would define myself as a curious person with a multidisciplinary mindset, and I think this is what drove me to take this new step in my career.
Pedro,
I enjoy.
Pedro, yep. You stop sharing for some reason.
Okay, let me fix it. What about now?
Now it's up and running, yes.
Okay, perfect. And hopefully by the end of my talk, you will understand a little bit better how I ended up as a strategic consultant, and maybe it can make sense for some of you as well, okay? So I think it's worth giving a little bit of context about what is consulting, because I didn't know it too well before joining BCG, okay? So I have this slide about consulting. To the left, you can see kind of the official definition or the official slide that my company gave me to present to you. These are all the activities we do on a daily basis. So we listen to and frame the client's challenges. This is a really important step. Framework is the most famous work in consulting. So frameworks are the way we structure complex problems in order to tackle them effectively. And these are often reusable. We have past experience in many cases. This often looks like a slide, but it's more than a slide, okay? It's not just PowerPoints, it's ways of structuring complex ideas in order to be effective in solving the challenges companies and organizations face. Then we gather data and conduct research. So it's a different kind of research, but we have a lot of research networks, databases, financial databases. We analyze and develop hypotheses. So this is where PhDs usually excel, are really good at this, creating models, and developing solutions for our clients. Testing theories. We also enable the execution and delivery of our strategic recommendation, and we measure the results. So this looks a little bit confusing. So to the right, you can see a simpler definition that I made up with ChatGPT. So for me, consulting is the business of renting brain power and past experience to solve complex problems in companies and organizations. As simple as that. And I think this pretty much summarizes the real meaning of our job. Okay. Now, it's worth mentioning that there are very different kinds of consulting companies. All right, I work in a strategic consultancy. This is the most famous companies in this sector are McKinsey, Boston Consulting, and Bain. You can see it to the left. And then on the other end of the slide, we have, well, the big fours and the specialist boutiques. So the work is really different. I think the main differences are in the focus. So we are quite focused on a strategy. This is long-term recommendations for our clients. and Big Four are more focused on implementation and daily operations. All right, so they do a more tactical job. Um, Also, specialization is quite different. At entry and mid-level in strategy consulting, you are usually a generalist, while in Big Four, you work for a specific department that is quite specialized on a single topic. Our projects are quite short, like maybe a couple of months. It's really weird to have a case that lasts for more than a year. So you are always changing projects and gaining new experience. And also it's worth mentioning that the fees are higher in strategic consulting, but it's true that the projects are also they have a smaller scope. So the teams and the timeframes are shorter. Okay. So in the year I've been working at BCG, I've done really different things. And this is something I love because I'm quite curious. For some of you, this can be attractive. For others, it might seem like you're just scratching the surface of your projects and not getting really in depth. But you have to bear in mind that this is a completely different kind of work of what you find in research or in academia, okay? So I've done project in IT services. I've worked for an AI scale up. Then I worked for an infrastructure company that they wanted to sell. So this was private equity work, motorbike equipment, and my latest project was in supermarkets. So really different backgrounds. About the tools that you use, I'm not going to lie to you. Excel and PowerPoint are the main tools of a consultant, and this has not changed since many years. But we are using more and more coding, Gen AI tools. For example, in my last project, I could use Cloud Code and Python extensively to create better models and have more powerful capabilities than the ones that Excel can give you. Okay. So now the interesting part of the job, what I consider that is good and what I consider is challenging. Well, I think this kind of company offers you an accelerated learning about across many topics. So you're always learning new things, new sectors, and you become an expert or semi-expert in something you had no idea in a matter of weeks. Okay. So versus the academic depth of our thesis and the research work you do at university, this has a lot of breadth. So the topics and the problems we face are really well varied. Then you have contact with top stakeholders from day one. So it's not unusual that you are in a meeting with a CEO of a large company, of an IBEX 35 company, for example. And you get actually to speak to them because they ask questions about your module. So this is something that you don't get, for example, in Big Four, or it's not as usual. But in strategic consulting, you get this. There is constant teamwork. All our projects are structured in small teams, like 4 to 5 people, and a really collaborative environment. This is something I was not expecting because from outside you might think that this is really competitive, but I think the incentive systems is quite well defined. So everyone wants to collaborate to help you, and I really like that. Compared to PhD work that can seem a little bit lonely sometimes because a PhD is individual, here the outputs are always shared, and it's something I enjoy quite a lot. Then the salaries are quite competitive, and the benefits. And something I really like is that we have access to top tier resources. So for example, I was talking about Gen AI models or about coding. Even though most consultants do not code in Python, I ask for access and the process is super agile, and they approve everything quite fast. So this doesn't look like a really large corporate, really bureaucratic. It's more a startup style. So we have access to whatever we want pretty fast, and it's something really enjoyable about the work. And what feels challenging for me? Well, long working hours and a lot of responsibility because when you are presenting to really important stakeholders, in short time frames. You have to get to conclusions really fast, and this can be or can feel risky, and you can feel the weight on your shoulders sometimes. And depending on the case, you might travel a lot. Okay, so in general, it's a really demanding job. Many people see this as an investment, like I'm gonna be here for 2-3 years, and then this gives you access to really good positions in corporates or other kinds of jobs, or it's a really good school for also startups and entrepreneurship, in my opinion. Okay, and now I wanted to tell you about Middle Ground, which is our tech and design unit in BCG. It's called BCGX. And this combines the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So you have like the exposure to top stakeholders and the business and organizations, but you also have the technical aspect. So maybe for some of you, this might sound interesting. Okay. They are quite focused right now in Gen AI technology, and I must say that we are, well, the company is pretty good in this regard. For example, in Spain, we have the global hub for contact center automation. So they build virtual agents for call centers that are amazing. You call to them and they sound really like a human. So they do really interesting projects. You can do also supply chain optimization. You can apply a lot of the hard skills that you learn in your PhD to solve complex projects in companies. Okay, these are more or less the profiles they have: data scientists, engineers. The kind of projects they are involved in, like proof of concepts, capability building, product development. Normally, BCGX team will work together with the traditional consulting team, and those projects are, as I said, really interesting because you have the mix of technical and business angles. And finally, I wanted to show you the tech stack they use because it's probably it rings a bell to many of you, okay? Because it's the kind of stuff that we use for scientific computing and coding during our PhDs. They apply it on a daily basis. Okay? So I will for sure do some secondment or spend some time with BCGX in the future. It's on my list because they do really cool stuff, and they are looking for people right now. So if you are interested in this and want to chat more on that, don't hesitate to contact me. And here you have my details. Thank you very much.